Okay, why go for an autopilot after 5 years of sailing without one? It's rather easy to have one. We're doing family planning. We're dual handling most of the time, but somebody will be handling a baby. And yeah, it's nice to hold course. I consider it a safety factor as well. After 5 years of sailing, there have been moments where I would have liked a system to just hold a straight course. You get distracted, you turn when you look around, so an autopilot keeps a straight course. It can correct for a lot of things, and you can sit out where it's warm. You don't always have to be sitting behind the wheel in bad weather or rain. That being said, we had quite some requirements, or I had some requirements in order for an autopilot to fit our boat. Let's go through them one by one. I want to support a European company. There's great American brands, sure. I just want to support the local scenes. It should be easy to operate. Ideally, it's a system I can take with me if we ever get a new boat. I hope not, but it should support wheel steering, tiller steering, and a potential below deck steering system. We'll get to that later. I have a wind vane, which is an analog kind of autopilot, which is attached to the wheel with ropes. This is lines. This is installed in front of the wheel. I want to keep that disc there, so this autopilot has to be able to be installed behind that system because we are going for a wheel setup. I also want physical buttons, remotes, an application so I can push to go anywhere. It's 2026, right? We should be able to have a lot of inputs for it. Ideally, it's affordable to buy and affordable to replace parts of. So an easy install is my number one priority next to all of these above. And last but not least, it should be pretty to look at. There's a lot of autopilots out there that still look like they were made in the 90s, and that's cool. But I don't like the looks of it. Yeah, skin in the game. A brand that I'm buying should have some skin in the game, particularly for Nautinect. I'll talk about that later. So in an ideal world, we do have a below deck steering autopilot setup. Why? Well, as you can see, it's below deck. It's neatly tucked away. It's not out in the elements. Raymarine, B&G, Pelagic, they all offer it. Even Nautinect also can work with a system like this, but you do need to have that big piston lever installed, and they're quite expensive. So if you look at a full system, for example, for Raymarine, you get over 3,500 euros with all attachments that are needed. I don't have that kind of money for an autopilot. It's too much in relation to the cost of the boat. I don't want to spend that money. I want to have a nice vacation for that type of money. So we went for an autopilot with wheel steering. There's a lot of brands. Raymarine, gray, 90s look. I don't like the look of it. Apparently they're quite okay. There's Simrad. These are not too pretty. There's PC Nautic. So that's the white box and the software. It's another Dutch company, but they do work with the Raymarine wheel pilots. So again, not the nicest looking options to me. I do like this option. That's CPT. It's an American brand. It looks pretty to me. I'm a bit of a nerd on that kind of, I don't know, I like the boxes. And it's aluminum. It looks sturdy and watertight, and not too 90s. Maybe 1980s. I like the color scheme. But yeah, it's not CPT. In the end, I went for this one. This is Nautinect, Dutch company. We'll get to the details soon. So why Nautinect? Well, I had quite a big requirements list and they fit all of these. They're Dutch based. It's easy to install apparently, but the parts, it's kind of an open design. Peter, the owner, shares mostly everything. You can see what's in there. You can replace these parts and order them online if they break. So I'm a bit of an engineer myself and that looks easy to me. So it's a plus. I went for Nautinect. They're quite the new kid on the block. Some people have these systems in their boats for years now. People have sailed to Spain, like this wildling sailing guy, and there's some people on the local lakes here as well. So I trust it works. It's not that difficult, and I want to support the local brand. I did do a cost comparison. Earlier on, I said 3,500 euros, but that was for below deck steering systems. This really is a cost comparison for wheel-based installs for autopilots. Raymarine with the wheel is around about 2,000 euros. CPT, same thing, but you have to import it from the Americas to the EU, so that's not going to happen. And then there's PC Nautic, quite competitive in terms of the total package, but again, I don't like the looks of it. I went for Nautinect without a control display, which is new, I saw on the website. So I spent around about 1,000 euros for the system. I spent about 50 euros extra for other bits and bobs, but this is what I spend. And I'm happy to spend 1,000 euros. Again, that's a lot of money, but it's worth it to me, and it looks to be working today. What did I get for that amount of money? I got the controller. So they made their own microcontroller, MIDI controller, call it what you want, the electronics with the software inside. He wrote it himself. It's open source. You can find it on their website and adapt it a bit. I went for the wheel drive. There's two versions. I went for the wheel drive version of Mark. I got 2 remote controls and a rudder reference unit, which I'm still installing. It's not final, but at least all the rest of it is working. I'm dry fitting the wheel of the Autopilot, so I'm gonna have to do some Lego and fit these pieces so that it forms a wheel that we then attach to the backside of my own wheel with the wind vane. It should fit right in here, and then will be attached with a belt to this Autopilot system. You can easily open up the backside of the drive unit by opening these with this one. I like how they put a turn into this so water would never get in. This is up, so water would always drain off and never get in any entry. So that's rather well done. Loose. Okay, should be able to get it off. Let's have a look what's inside. Change the cable to one that is 4 meters long. I think I'll only need 3, but you never know what corners you have to take in a boat. What I'm thinking of is to put some kind of gasketing material on the sides so that water doesn't really go in. Pretty tight, but this has to align with the wheel, well, with the circle behind the wheel, so this has to move a bit to the back. Yeah, this will be better. Not perfect, but better. And then the idea will be to have this cable go here, 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 through the binnacle, down. Challenge will be to put it through the binnacle. There was already once an Autopilot cord that went through the Ritchie compass, so I can just hope for the best, and yes, it fits. Tape the new wire to the new one, to the old one. Now I should be able to pull it through from here. So let's try that. So, short status update. We wired the motor through the binnacle. We rerouted it via an old Autopilot wire. This will have to be made tidy, click in place. This goes through the bulkhead. Back inside the boat, and it goes through that hole all the way to the Autopilot. It's a bit challenging to fit these wires into the correct holes, and I'm trying that right now. Now let's do a test fit on the steering binnacle. So it's a pretty clever design. You align these and then you fit one of these filling pieces in, and they just slide in. It's to fit here. As you can see, it disappears in whole form. Now I'll have to make these brackets, attach it to these U-bolts and get them behind, or get the steering wheel spokes smashed in there. So let's get this off. Okay. And the idea is that we put it at the backside. So installing the last one, it goes via these keyholes. It fits the radius of your steering wheel. They fit it to size, or print it to size. This is a bit difficult with one hand, but push it through. And then you use these M5 nuts to tie it all in and put it under pressure. So day number 3 or 4, we attached the wheel. Now we have to make sure that the alignment of the motor unit is correct, so it needs to come a bit up in order for the belt to hit correctly. We rerouted the electrical wire via the compass, which I might have to rethink, because I do know that electrical currents do impact compass bearings via magnetic fields. So it might be that I have to rewire this and maybe pull it through there instead of here. We'll see. The hole was already there for a previous install, so I don't mind reusing it. Yeah, it looks pretty cool to me. We're trying to shorten the screws right here so that they're flat, and we'll replace them with self-tightening screws, so that looks a bit more professional. So this is the finished product. I trimmed off all the sharp metal-y pieces from there. I will be able to still use the wind vane, Autopilot, and this Nautinect electrical Autopilot. So yeah, pretty stoked.
Past je dat niet zo? Die denkt dat je hem aandacht gaat geven.
Charlie, wat een mooi hondje. I've got the system wired up. Cable goes through the steering wheel column, through the deck, all the way back here. The Autopilot is right there. It makes a noise. So this is turn left, turn right, left. Big turn to the right, big turn to the left. So small, big turn, left, right. One of the last steps of this project is to install the rudder bearing, rudder reference unit. So it's a UTP cable. Already pulled it through. So rerouted the rudder reference unit via right box through the bulkhead, ceiling, behind that ceiling over there, through, and now I have to connect it to the unit. and there is no entry for the rudder reference unit, so I'm either gonna have to drill another hole right there or buy one of these watertight connectors. But the real challenge would be in connecting it to the quadrant. I'll show you what that looks like, or at least the unfinished product. So it's a potentiometer or a resistance meter, and that part here is going to be connected to the quadrant in there. It's a very tight space. I have to get this over here and somehow connect it to the rudder post, or attach something to the rudder pole. So to this one sticking out, maybe I can add something here because there's still a key, and then attach it to that one, because attaching to the bronze quadrant will be very difficult. I don't think I'll be able to tap in the bronze without touching the cables at the other side. So for the rudder reference unit that senses the rudder position, I need a longer bolt because this is too short. I'm gonna make a 3D printed rudder, how do you call this, attachment piece, where this M5 thread will go in and it will be able to follow the turns of the rudder axis. And there's going to be some points where I can insert it into with M5 thread and be able to use some M5 bolts. So, in the end, what kind of score do I give the system? I'm giving it 3 seashells, right? Why? Well, easy to source, easy to maintain, super affordable if you compare it to the other options. The communication of this company is quite great. I sent them an email, they reply. I sent them a picture, a video, they give tips, tricks. You know, they care about their customers. They're not a super large corporate yet. I don't think they will be one day. I hope they stay a bit local, but they do have a lot of success. I wish them a lot of luck, and I'm hoping I will also be as happy in 1 year from now. So then I'll be able to do a year-long review of using this system. Now it's just the install. Do with that what you like. I've just had a blast installing it, and I'm super happy my boat steers one way or the other by the push of a button. So yeah, good luck to you all, and leave a like. Bye.